Let's get all cozy because feelings are about to be hurt. Hello everyone, my name is Emily and today I'm nervous. We are going to be reading mean reviews of my favorite books. This is something I never do this. The only time I typically read mean reviews is if I also did not like the book or if I'm trying to gauge what were the vibes, what did people think. So I have put myself in my comfy little corner surrounded by my fruit pillows, my children, and we're gonna get into it. I'm nervous, but you know, we gotta give people a fair shot. Everyone's free to have their own opinion, so let's get into it. I'm gonna go through Goodreads. We're going right to the 1-star reviews because that's for the people that feel most passionate. And let's start off. We're just gonna really go in strong with Emily Henry's Beach Read. This is one of my favorite books of all time. It's about two individuals who have a previous history. They were academic rivals in college. Now they are both renowned authors writing very different genres. He writes more like documentary-esque nonfiction, and she writes romance. They don't get along as well, very much grumpy energy there, but they meet up in this small town that they're both there for very different reasons, and it's a little romance and it's cute, and they're authors. Also there's, oh my gosh, the average, I'm already seeing the average rating is 3.99. You haven't even gotten to the reviews yet. Let's go. I'm scared. This is a long one. His eyes were doing the thing, the Gus thing, and it made my chest flutter almost painfully. I don't get it. What am I missing here? Beach Read originally caught my eye because its premise reminded me Summer Villa, one of my favorite Hallmark movies. I know I'm publicly admitting to being a sappy romantic at heart. No problem with that. And I'm proud of it, so why couldn't I get into the story at all? For one, I didn't feel any chemistry between January and Gus. Nothing. Their interactions are so awkward and stilted, it was almost painful. They'll say mundane and platonic things to each other, and then sporadically January will remind us that he is filling her abdomen or pulling between her legs, and I'm like, eh. I can't imagine how two people could possibly fall in love or lust while saying such bland things to each other. This is the second book I've read by Emily Henry. I've noticed that her female characters tend to be very twee and precious. They have extremely high expectations of what love is, need to be constantly reassured, and freak out at the smallest blip. At one point, January sees Gus's ex at a public event and she wants to scream and cry before the woman has even said or done anything. And what's up with calling herself Dumb Bunny? I don't remember that part. I also haven't read this book in probably 3 years, so memory is not as fresh, I'll know. Not to mention, she spends the entire time being upset with her dad over something that was none of her business. Suffice to say, it's all very exhausting. As for Gus, we were told over and over that he has a crooked mouth and messy hair, wears rumpled and faded clothes, and has a sexy/evil look. What does that even mean? Otherwise, his only characteristics are that he writes novels and he adores January for no reasons that I could discern. The writing style is fluffed out to the excess. I will agree. Emily Henry has very fluffy writing. I like it. There is so much mundane details about every event, non-event, from the multiple page conversations on should they go or not go to the logistic details, transportation, gift bringing, preferred topics of conversation, to the minute of everything that happens while at the event, and in between every step of the way it is interspersed with information on how January is feeling, how she thinks Gus must be feeling, and what this means for their relationship. They are also constantly affirming what great people the other one is. Gus is dark and broken, but great. January is a fairy princess and a bright light, but great too. And they keep checking in to see if the other is happy. Are you happy? I am. Are you happy? Conversations were so cheesy and trite, I was crying the inside. A good portion of this book is spent on the details of the stories they are each writing and the related research. One is a love story that takes place in a cult. The other is a love story that takes place in a circus with clowns. I don't even know what I'm reading anymore. I don't remember that. Where's the flirty banter, the sexual tension, the obstacles to overcome? I kept waiting for something exciting to happen or some interesting dialogue or some insight from the story, but nada. I'll be honest, this is one of the most boring books I've ever read. My criteria for rom-com isn't that high. I want romance and comedy, but this book didn't satisfy either. I neither swooned nor laughed. I was mostly exhausted with boredom while waiting for this dull story to be over. Yikes. I will note though that I have heard from people that If you don't like, I think this is also pretty fair with most authors, if you don't like their writing style, it's going to be tough to enjoy their books. I think Emily Henry has a very specific writing style that is much more flowery and flowy, and she, in my opinion, doesn't focus completely on the romances. She always typically has like a family aspect, which I like a lot, or some deeper, sadder topic or subplot going on, like in this case, January and her dad. To each their own. The thing is, I feel like I'm a little bit more prepared for this one because I've talked to people that I share a lot of book recommendations with. Some of them didn't necessarily like Beach Read. Biggest complaint I got from them, honestly, was it was too hetero for them, which, like, totally fair. Get that as well. But not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Next one. I'm scared of this one. Okay, we're going to Darkest Minds, guys. I stan this trilogy so much. I'm nervous. Back from 2015. Okay, we're doing the first book of the series, The Darkest Minds. This is about a dystopian world where a group of kids develop this sickness that gives a bunch of them powers, and the powers kind of range from the level of intensity and strength, the more unstable physically and or mentally you are. And our girl, in the main character, Ruby, is the second most powerful one. She can control minds, which is so fun and so cool. I read this trilogy every single year, so this is probably, like, out of all these books we're going to go through, I'm most familiar with these books. But let's read this review. This person goes, I had to stop reading this book because 1, Ruby was giving me an ulcer. She's the queen of wimps, scared of even breathing. Oh my gosh. What is even the point of making her a wimpy shit if at the end she's going to save the story? Number 2, lack of information. A virus that has turned kids into little X-Men. What do they do exactly? They are assigned colors according to their ability, which are what exactly? Yes, again. I will note there is a section where they talk about the different colors, but let's move on. Number 3, those kids who didn't turn to superheroes in making died, just dropped dead. Why? Was it the virus? I'd assume so. I'm quite positive yes. Number 4, the new powerful children are taken to camps and the most dangerous ones are killed. Why? There was no chance of talking to them or something? Nope, just plain killed. This, we will find out, was definitely just the government. Well, there are other spoilers, and I will not spoil that, but I think it's a very classic looking at the current American government right now. People we can't control. Also, historically, American history, people that we can't control are outspeaking, too powerful, we're taking out. Number 5, apparently parents are the ones turning their own kids in. Seriously, if my son suddenly becomes a little cyclops, I would do everything to protect him. And that is why you are a good parent. Number 6, so Ruby is taken to this camp when she was 10 and now she's 16. She's barely talked in her time there. She's had no glance at the outside world, no books, music, TV, nothing. Yet the night she was rescued, she recognizes the ebb and flow of Pink Floyd synthesizers on the radio. Seriously? I don't know when Pink Floyd came out. But maybe if they were playing before she was 10 and she grew up with that music. But I don't know anything about Pink Floyd, so I just assumed it was part of her childhood pre-camp. Number 7, what's up with the guards in the camp being sadistically cruel to the children? Why? Where did that come from? In all of them? In short, I'm totally... Okay, so I know, well, no, wasn't that like the Stanford study that showed the students doing the like prison guard and prisoner dilemma, and it showed when people, maybe it was just men specifically in power, they feel the need to like abuse it and show that they're more powerful. So I feel like that's just the adults being a-holes. I'm not surprised given current history going on and past. In short, I was totally in love with the beginning of the book and my hands were shaking with excitement until I reached page 63. From there on, Ruby's lack of personality, character, and depth annoyed me, and I got sick and nauseous of constantly reading how scared she was to move, to think, or to breathe. On top of that, every other sentence contained please and forgive me. I mean, she didn't need to be Xena, the warrior princess? Not even Gabriel? I don't know who that is. But that pathetic and pitiful. We can agree to disagree. Give it a shot, though. Ugh, I'm not deterred. I'm a Ruby stan till I die. Next one. Oh, Wait, this one's gonna be funny. Okay, growing up, the main series I read, there were 3. There was Harry Potter, Hunger Games, and the Warriors series. We're gonna look at the Warriors series, first one, Into the Wild. This is like a series that's still going. I think there are 9 series at this point. I'm like, maybe one day I'll read them all. One day when I have a lot of time, I low-key want to like just stream read it with you guys. I think it'd be so much fun. Also, I would love to read all like 90 books at some point. Maybe one day I'll make that like a 6-month challenge for myself where I reread or read up to date all the Warriors books. Let me know if you'd like me to, or let me know if you're also a fellow Warriors fan. These books shaped me. Yes, I was playing Warriors on the playground. Yes, my parents did think me and my friends were strange, but you know what? Could have been doing drugs or stealing stuff or committing crimes. Oh, there's tea behind this one. Someone said they're turning off notifications because of the level of trolls they're getting. Oh. I feel like I have to read this now. What's the tea? Also, we do not promote any hate going to these people. Everyone is free to have their own opinion. But now that there's drama behind this one, I've gotta know what the drama's about. I mean, if one of their tags just makes me want to puke. I'm scared. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, wait. Let me give you the premise of this series. Warriors, think like there are different clans and there are different levels. There's like a leader and a medicat who's like they're healer, and there are like warriors who like go out and fight and catch food, and then there are like apprentices and children, and of course there's like politics, but then there's also like paranormal activity with the dead, and there are all these quests and prophecies. It's crazy. So let's get into it. The first thing you need to know about me is I hate cats. And you're gonna read, okay, no hate to these people. This is literally a book entirely about cats. Okay, to each their own. You're at least, maybe you're giving it a shot. Hate them in all caps. They are the living creatures I dread the most after roaches. I'm serious. I can't think about cats without flinching. I hear one and I shudder. I see one and I want to vomit. One gets near me and the good girl inside me is at risk of going far away. I just can't stand them. Does this girl have trauma? I'm like nervous. Why? The second thing you need to know is that I hate stories about talking animals. You're gonna hate everything about this book then. I literally cannot watch a TV show or movie where there are talking animals without going insane. Really, I get so exasperated and furious, I fear my heart will stop working. Those previous points led me to think I was not going to like this book, but I decided to try anyway because I've had the pleasant surprises with, for example, The Monstrumologist. That book had monsters and my eyes just roll until almost popping out my head whenever I hear that word mentioned, but I loved that book series. So with the hope of that thing also happening with this book, I finally got to give it a try. I regret my decision. Why? Perhaps this is the most ridiculous book I've read after Twilight, and we're talking about 1 year. I just couldn't buy the concept. Clans of cats fighting? The hell? Yep. That's all this book is about. Some might say it's an original concept, but for me, it's just laughable. Also, the absurd amount of names was overwhelming to the point where I wanted to kill myself. Look at some examples. Tiger Paw, Gray Paw, Fire Paw, Lionheart, Dust Paw, Sand Paw, Blue Star, Raven Paw, Little Star, Longtail, Smudge, Crooked Star, Tall Star, Blackfoot, Dappletail, Red Tail, Oakheart, Dirty. You may have noticed I highlighted some of the names. That's because of reading all of them. Freaking Paw, Star, Heart, Tail terminations made me want to kill himself. Okay. Quick side note. All of the like, you go from like something kit, so like, am I really about to expose myself? I'm gonna tell you my warrior's name. Now we are forever bonded. We are in this together. When I was growing up, my warrior name, I'd either go as Ice, whatever, or Eagle, whatever. So let's give you an example. All the kits, like the babies were something kit, so it'd be Ice Kit. Then once you move up to apprentice level where you're learning to be like either a healer cat or a warrior cat, you'd be Paw. So it'd be Ice Paw or Eagle Paw. That's just like how the hierarchy works. And then once you lead up to warrior or medicine cat, I don't know what determines the end, but it's always like your prefix with whatever. So I was always like Ice Fur or Eagle Eye. Those were my names. But if I wanted to be a leader, which I was never into leading, so that was not me, it'd be something star. So like Ice Star or Eagle Star. That's just how the naming system worked. Some awkward sentences contributed to my madness too, like this. We got back in time, she meowed with a gasp. The kids are safe. Meowed with a gasp. That's like trying to talk while swallowing, or like gasping and talking at the same time. I tried doing it and I failed. My brother tried and he failed. My brother is a part of this group too, and my sister is as well. This felt just as WTF as the previous one. Yellow Fang looked up at Blue Star and narrowed her eyes respectfully. Narrow eyes respectfully? How do you do that? I do like these gifts. Or maybe like this. Damn, aren't you a creepy one, Cinderella's stepmother? This one might be an option too. For me, they all look the same, except for some of them. Hate-filled one, don't you think? The unnecessary deaths were also another bug for me. Like, I don't even get to know the character yet. He died, and I'm supposed to feel bad. But for example, there was a red tail. Yes, ludicrous name, don't even mention it. At the beginning, I didn't know who that was, and there comes some cat telling everyone Redtail's dead. I mean, what the F? Who the hell is Redtail? And I'm not only talking about his death. There were many pointless ones. Why did they die? Just to go give more emotion to the stories, I suppose? Well, Hunter, big fail here because I couldn't care any less. Anyway, I'm sorry I'm bashing a book most people love, but maybe this didn't work for me because it simply was ridiculous, not a book targeted to my age. If you're a fan of talking animals and you love stupid stories about pointless, quote, warrior cats, then this just might be for you. There are 411 comments. I don't even have to know what these are to imagine what is going on. I will note this sounds like someone who, the general premise of the book, cats and talking animals, they already don't like those, so the book I don't think stood a chance, and the ability for this reviewer to enjoy it, there was never a chance of that happening. I will note sometimes though I will give a book a chance even though I know I probably won't like it, or sometimes I'll read it just because it's a popular book, and I might be in my hater era, and I have written very angry reviews like this. So to each their own. I just think given the nature of the book and what this reviewer likes, I don't think it was ever going to be a match made in heaven. That's okay. But for me, I think I read them in elementary school. That sounds about right for the target audience. But there was a lot of violence in those, kind of a lot more than I remember. What should we read? Okay, what should we do next? This has been interesting. Oh, I'm scared to do this one. Let's pull up the Hunger Games. Okay, let's read Richard's review. Richard. He has an update, so rating 1 of 5 goes, what was I thinking? I don't like books about teens. Well, that's not entirely true. I'm Not a Serial Killer is about a teen boy who's sure he's the evilest thing ever born, is told from his POV, and yet that gets darn close to 4 stars. I don't like books about teen girls. Why are people reading books that they know? This is, okay, Eden did a whole TikTok. Also, we stand Eden here. A whole TikTok about why Book Talk is giving you bad recommendations. And I will know I'm also guilty of this. I have sometimes read things off of Book Talk and I'm like, what is this recommendation? But she's like, make sure one, you agree, like the person who's recommending this book to you, one, check if there are even other books that they recommend that you like, or like books that they recommend and you hate. Like then you'll know if you have similar tastes, if it's in a genre you even read, if it's about topics you even write. Why am I suddenly reading all these reviews about people who are reading about things that they explicitly don't like? To each their own. Sometimes you want to give something a shot, which I get. Well, that's not, okay, they're talking about how they don't like books about teen girls, but that's not entirely true because they liked Deathless is told from the POV of a teen girl in a magical struggle for life, and yet it got 4 full and eager stars. 4 full and eager stars. What an interesting way to put it. So why didn't I like this book? Because the whole thing is a cynical exercise in marketing a product that has elements the publisher recognized as hot and trending. Strong teen girl, dystopian setting, children in battle for their lives. Sound familiar? Think Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix and forward. Same situation. Female hero, technology not magic, no humor, ungraceful writing, cold business calculations set it apart from the Potter books. Okay, low-key, the 5th one might not have been my favorite, Order of the Phoenix or Harry Potter, but it was also just long because there was a lot of story building in it with like the Horcruxes and everything. Like you needed that one, but I mean, I guess Hermione isn't the main character. Harry is the main character. Katniss is the main character here. Would I categorize Harry Potter as dystopian? I don't know. It just like feels like so out of our world that I don't know. Like we're not witches and wizards. surface level, it's about blood purity, but beyond that, it's about discrimination and minorities. I don't know if I agree with that comparison. Okay, let's continue. I don't know Miss Collins, and I impute no impure motives to her. She might very well have written the story dearest to her heart, for all I know, but I do know, and have for quite some years, publishers. Who is this person? This is a product promoted to fill a gap in the lineup, like the Chrysler 200. How old is this person? I need to know immediately, Richard. You are giving me interesting vibes. Awful. That it succeeded so well is depressing. That it's so unquestionably lauded is either life-sappingly grim or suicide-inducingly terrible. Hello? I'm also noting when people write these reviews because we learn not to say as offensive things over time, but still. In a country where free speech is ever under attack, hence the First Amendment and laws supporting it, no one legislates the safety of things unquestioned. We waste our collective breath lauding a second-rate industrial product of foolish, simplistic, ramshackle pastries of better books that, in a better world, would merit only silence and oblivion. Shame, shame, and more shame on me for adding to the chorus, if in a minor key. This is a very interesting review. I mean, if you listen to Miss Collins, I mean, at the point, I don't know, 2012, when did Hunger Games come out? Let's go look up when this came out. Okay, this book came out in 2008. So he's reviewing this 4 years later. I feel like she's by now talked about why she wrote these when she was like watching TV, I think during the Vietnam War, I believe it was. And she was reflecting on how the government treats the common folk and the propaganda around it and the use of entertainment to cover up the systematic issues going on in the world. He did leave an update on April 15, 2014, 2 years after he published this. I've now seen the movie and yes, watched the movie of the book I didn't like. It made less sense in the book, but it was really pretty to look at. Interesting. Catching Fire is obviously the best movie and book, I would say, as well. What an interesting read. Let's do one more. There are some books I'm not ready. I'm just not mentally prepared to read a 1 star. If you guys would like me to continue doing this, maybe I will. Just where I'm at right now mentally, there are some books I will not read a 1 star review on. Ooh, okay, let's do it. We're gonna do Love in Other Words. This was one of the best romance books that got me back into reading back in 2020 or so. This book I hold so close to my heart. Definitely my favorite Christina Lauren book. Perfect, nice and short. Let's read the top 1. Okay, quick backstory. I keep forgetting. This is about 2 individuals, second chance romance. They knew each other as kids, were very close, had a little bit of a romantic past. Something traumatic happens, breaks them up. They reconnect later in life and have to kind of overcome their previous trauma, talk about what went wrong. It's just one of the most heartwarming romances in my opinion. So let's read this scathing review. This book was just not for me, I think. This wasn't the kind of second chance romance I like. I like a lot more angst and longing, and this book didn't have that. I do like angst and longing, I'd agree with that. So if they have any recommendations, I take them. I feel like the boyfriend was just there to keep the story going and to keep them apart. I don't remember that part. Also, the reason they stopped talking was poorly written to the fact that it kind of disgusts me. So obviously, I'm not going to spoil it for why they stopped talking. In my opinion, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. This person can feel that way, completely fine. It was a response to 2 teenagers going through 2 incredibly traumatic events. I don't want to get into more than that because I don't want to spoil any of it. But also, I think they were like 17 years old. So I'm not expecting the best communication from them because we all know how 17-year-olds are. Last thing, I think the love story was cute, but it just was an absolute favorite for me. Not bad for a 1-star review, honestly. That was actually not bad at all. All right. That's all for today. Thanks for listening. Going through these. This was not as bad as I thought. I do a lot of book reviews on here. I've received a lot of support and a lot of backlash as well. And from someone who talks about this as much, like everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Whatever. Like, it's books, we're going to be fine. It just depends on what we're critiquing. And I tend to be very critical, so to each their own. Also know I've been like writing reviews on Goodreads for 5 years now. Storygraph has been like closer to 3 or so. Make sure you're following me on both of those, by the way. And I think it's just a fun way to think critically about these books and to express your opinions, share with others who might be feeling similarly. But sometimes some of the reviews crack me up. Maybe this is making me wonder. I'm like, wow, some of my reviews are really mean. But also don't make me write or say mean things. And everyone's entitled to their opinion. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any videos. Behind the scenes constantly going on Instagram and TikTok. You can follow me there. I'm running a marathon. If you want to follow that journey as well, I'm a little nervous, but we'll be okay. We have so many trips planned ahead. Lots of love in the air that's going to be happening. I'm so excited. So be sure to tune in, and you don't want to miss anything. Turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss any videos from yours truly. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your favorite books are, what I should read if I haven't already read them, and if you want me to do more videos like this, because there are definitely books I avoided because I'm not ready to hear the criticism, and that's okay. I know where I'm at. See you guys next week. Bye.